What is up, everybody? This is KingRaliant bringing you my first video of many to tell you my first impression of the Outriders demo, a looter shooter style sci-fi game being developed by People Can Fly and published by Square Enix. It is not a live service game and are releasing a full product on release without any microtransactions. However, they did mention that if the game receives enough interest in player base, they will expand upon the game and emphasize adding more to it. This means play the damn game, even if it's just for the main story, which is about 35 plus hours worth of content. Just give them a chance. Let me begin by saying I am beyond excited to play this game, if you can't already tell. Having pre-ordered and will be covering this game extensively from here on forward, but that's a biased statement. I'm going to cover the pros, cons, hopes, and all of it honestly. With that said, let's dive into this, and if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and if you didn't like it, do it anyways because you're an awesome person. Initially, I like the backstory premise. Cliche? Yes. Interesting? Still yes. Being a huge D&D nerd, I can respect having some type of information that explains why you are what you are. Not to mention the quick change of pace during the prologue, which, by the way, hats off to People Can Fly. I haven't seen one of these in ages in a video game. And even the tutorial is so well designed. In this case, you basically get some Fantastic Four action going on with a space storm giving you your bells and whistles. From here, you choose what class you're going to be. In a brutal scenario, might I add, by pulling a rebar out of your sternum and avoiding death, I mean, you're basically immortal. Quick overview of those classes you'll get to choose from. You got the Pyromancer, a medium range fire caster that heals through killing his marked targets with his abilities. Devastator, the tanky boy who has the most satisfying ability ever, who heals through killing enemies in close range. Trickster, my more than likely main, is your roguelike, highly mobile, high CC, high damage class that not only gets healed by close range kills like the Devastator, but also receives a shield which can be extended through further kills. And finally, the Technomancer. I have no idea why, everyone, but the concept of this reminds me so much of iRock from Ready Player One, and I absolutely love it. His healing comes from a portion of the damage dealt and is your long-range gadget user class. Let's cover the parts that grab my interest to start. The good per se. The classes. Multiple skills that can be cycled in and out to mix up the playstyle, and build is a beautiful thing. I love this concept where I can enjoy the core mechanic of a class, but still have the option to go slicey dicey, punchy boy, or snipey snipey. The abilities are super pleasing to the eye as well. Crafting and modding. Even though we don't have this in the demo, I can already see the amount of fun we're going to be able to have with the system. It's extensive and absolutely limitless. The world, story, lore, and design. I love this sci-fi wasteland type vibe of restoring the world, as well as the gritty and grim design of the cinematics, weapons, monsters, and all. Not to mention, you can tell they wanted to spend some time on the lore, with the countless journal entries that my nerdy ass can't wait to read. It's also nice to have this darker art design take than the normal rated teen variations we've seen in the past. Theory crafting. With the impressive skill tree, multiple abilities, 300 plus equipment mods, this is a theory crafter's paradise. It's going to be enjoyable to come up with some neat builds and see how they do. I'm very much so looking forward to this. Inventory system. This seems like a little thing, but with loot type games, a well-designed user interface is massive. And I like the one for Outriders. The grid tile-like system and having to select the slot you want to change out before switching gear in is structured in an organized fashion that brings my brain to a happy place. Now, this could be viewed as a pro and con, depending on who you are, your play style, and games you like. The flow of the game and pacing. The game itself moves at a pace that feels really fun, and it's very easy to fall into. It favors aggressive play styles and really getting into the thick of things to get something out of it. Aside from that, looter shooters always entail farming quests, dungeons, raids, what have you, to get the better pieces of loot. So it depends if you like style or not. For me, I do. However, with their difficulty increasing system called World Tiers that go up to 15, I believe there's going to be quite a bit of challenge at the end game, because the further we can see now is tier 5, and you can start to tell when that curve starts to go upward. Second neutral point, end game and replayability. Now, this is a delicate topic. Again, we're just in the demo, meaning it is extremely hard to tell what the end will be like. From the bosses and cutscenes we've seen from what's to come, I think there will be some fights and enough of a challenge to retain interest for a little while. However, with the uncertainty still there, we're not 100% sure on what we can expect from the endgame. Something to keep your eye on. On to the noticeable things that bugged me. See what I did there? Optimization. Please keep in mind, people, it's a demo. We are more than likely playing a state of the game that from a couple of months ago. So things like capped FPS and cinematics, porting issues, all of that good stuff is more than likely getting fixed before or on release. Some of it has already been announced that it will be. This being an honest impression from the demo, it was clearly noticeable. I had it included in the list. The cover mechanic. This was a really noticeable issue. There were multiple times where I would try to go into cover, but instead would just be standing there because there was either a big input delay with the game registering that I wanted to go to the cover, or I wasn't in the sweet spot per se. Cheesy dialogue. Some of the dialogue is a bit cheesy and repetitive. Kind of like myself, but either way you still love both it and me, so let's move on. Self-revive in group play. Some maybe disagree with me, some may not. I personally view this as a con due to the fact that when you're playing with a team, you should be able to rely on that team. By giving a certain number of self-revives to the group, which seems to be shared, but I'm not 100% on this, it encourages more selfish play. Selfish is not to be confused with aggressive. I'm a much bigger fan of when you go down, your teammate gets you back up, unless the class defining ability allows otherwise. The last bit, audio. I think overall the audio is decent, but I couldn't help but notice there are quite a few guns that just sounded super weird. Like there was this one shotgun that sounded exactly like I just made it out of tin cans and had this Acme effect to it. I don't know, it just felt really off to me. Some of my biggest hopes for the game do include a few things. One being some quality of life changes, such as if we will be farming quests instead of dungeons, giving us the ability to not have to skip through dialogue piece by piece, but all together. It sounds small, but when you smash that spacebar for like the 100,000th time, you tend to start noticing the little stuff. These games are all about efficiency and effectiveness, so quality of life becomes pretty important. Affixes during world tiers. We're all unaware of what they do have planned, but in the higher world tiers, or if we are farming quests, it would be nice to see some type of randomized situation, whether it be environmental, ad spawning, boss power-ups, or a mix of them all included to be able to give us some change and not have to take the same route, same spec, same approach to the farm. It mixes things up to make it a little bit more interesting. The possibility of raids. It speaks for itself, but the chance to bring like 6 or even 10 other players would be a ton of fun in my opinion. The last bit of that I have to mention is going to be with group play, going on from the raid talk. So with group play, it seems like right now, the only thing that happens is the creatures that come out are spongier. It would be nice to see less non-elite type of creatures and more higher elite come out than just all of them taking more damage. I don't know, this seems to be a recycled and used method in a lot of games. I get it, it works, especially for games like this, but it'd be nice to tackle the norm, take a risk, and throw something else into play. I don't know, that's just my opinion on that one. You guys can let me know what you think, but with that being said, if you guys play this game, let me know what you all think in the comments below. Did you like the demo? What was your first impression? Do you think you'll pick it up? I want to hear from you. And of course, I do live stream on Twitch most days of the week, and I'm always active in our community Discord. Feel free to join in at any time. Links are in the description below. That's about it for me. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I will be aiming for 1 to 2 videos a week to start out. Subscribe to the channel, and as always, you stay lovely, you beautiful legends.